having a computer issue.
Otherwise,
Did you try turning it off and turning it back on?
I did. Try it again.
I would say we can move you down to Molly's.
Okay. And it was on. It's all my fault. I reached over to twist this down and I hit the on-off button. Well, this one's running. All right. We'll talk about that meeting. About that meeting. Call the meeting, the special meeting order of March 23rd, City of Cedar Springs, to order. Will we all please rise?
You can walk and flag at the same time.
And recite the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll play shuffle musical chairs just for a minute. Back to the top.
Do you want separate motions to excuse Molly, or do you just want one? Right, I just didn't know if you wanted two separate ones, or if I could just put them in one.
We'll do a roll call. Mr. Clark? Here. Mr. Hopkins? Here. Mrs. Nixon? Mrs. Powell?
Here.
Mr. Truesdale? Mrs. Conley?
Here.
Mr. Hall's here. Mrs. Nixon said she would not make it this evening, and Mrs. Truesdale called me at about 6 o'clock, and he was not feeling well and would not make it.
Mr. Mayor, would you like me to make a motion at this time to excuse them?
I would indeed.
Mr. Mayor, I will make a motion to excuse Mr. Truesdale and to excuse Ms. Nixon from this meeting.
Second. Then moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor of Mr. Truesdale and Mrs. Nixon excused signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed signify by saying no. Motion carries. Moving on to item 3, public comment. No one will speak up on that. No one.
Radio. You're a police scan.
Yeah. Hearing no public comment, we're moving on to adoption of the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
Second. Moved and seconded by Mr. Clark. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Mr. Hopkins?
Yes.
Mrs. Powell?
Yes.
Mrs. Conley?
Yes.
Ms. Hall votes yes. Motion carries. Discussion items. Item A, 2016-17 financial year budget. Barnett?
First slide I'm going to show is, and I showed this to you at the last meeting also, just to recap the fund balance of where we stand right now. It's at the 37%, but if you take in those earmarked items of $135,000, that is the turnout gear, the rescue vehicle, and the bridge work, it brings it down to estimated 29% right now. So I just wanted to show that again. And our policy is to keep it at a minimum of 20. So I just wanted to show that slide again. Then my next slide, back a few months ago at one of the meetings, I should have done that. Okay. There was a discussion and a resolution passed that the city would pick up the planning expenses for the library building the library, expenses involved with that, planning and zoning and legal fees and all that, and the community building. And this is a spreadsheet of everything that we've spent so far. That was back in November, I believe that started. So so far it's been $10,000 for the library and $8,700 for the community building development team. So $19,000 so far in this budget year. So for planning for next budget year, I don't know are we gonna put a cap on how much we're willing to spend on that? I just wanna open it up for discussion, so I can know for budgeting purposes, if we plan on, unlimited funds to them, or is there gonna be a cap, or, I just would like to have a little more clarification, so for budgeting purposes,
Of course.
I can know what to expect and to include.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, go ahead.
What if we were to say like another 10,000, because I know the library we're just about done. If we were to say maximum another 10,000, and then at that point, like if for some reason there's something we hadn't foreseen, we could revisit it, because I mean budgets can be amended, but that would give her a number.
Would that be just the library, or
Well, it'd be the library and the community, this green space that we're developing.
amphitheater?
But the library's about done. Like they're getting ready to break ground.
We saw the amphitheater,
Right.
the walkway, I don't know if that's,
But again, I don't know what their time frame. I don't know that they're going to get that all done in the next year. Well, what do you think should be? What's the number? She needs a number.
I guess we could start at 10, I guess that'd be a good, we might have to amend something.
Sure. But I mean, I feel like 10 is a very reasonable.
Would that include lawyering? if we
Well,
got
this
lawyer up or
is
something?
legal fees, cleaning fees, and there was one other piece of that we were thinking of.
Engineering.
Engineering.
Good place to start.
Mr. Mayor, do we know for sure that this was only for the library building?
Yes,
I'm not remembering that.
I believe our intent was only for the library site, and I believe that most of all the legal expenses should be done by now.
But-
The only cost we had was to get the PUD written. The site plan has been approved for the library, and the rest is all pretty much
Wasn't
done.
there some contract fees,
Yeah.
legal fees
I
with the
can-
community building development?
I have the resolution here if you want me to read it.
Please.
It says, "The city council hereby amends all resolutions and requirements of the city so as to waive any and all city legislative or administrative fees associated with the land use reviews and approvals associated with the CBT and library's development of the properties as a planned unit development, and further directs city staff to take all actions necessary to implement and effectuate this provision."
That sounds like Jeff language.
So that would have included the whole area.
Right,
over there.
including the creating the
This-
PUD,
Yes.
and it's the planning, it's Carmine, it's the engineering, and Jeff.
The
So-
PUD stuff you won't have to redo. It's-
Right,
It covers the whole thing. So
Right.
you should not have that to be done.
we can,
The big fees would be done as far as the PUD and Mr. Abatini's fees, and yes, Mr. Sluggott's. The language has been written for the PUD, and also the community building development team says that they are willing to pick up a lot of the fees. So I guess if we set a benchmark of 10,000, hopefully they'll pick the rest. If not, we'll have to discuss it at a later date. But for budgeting purposes,
is that a reasonable? I mean, I actually would think we probably won't even get there, but I could
I
be
don't
wrong.
think we will if we spent that already, and
Right.
most of what they've spent, you're not gonna have that come up again for what's projected for up there.
Right.
It's already rezoned.
We had we also had all those contracts that had to be about who owns what and when they own it, and how do we transfer it from here to there, and, they have the right to build it, but then there's an agreement, yeah.
I told the library that if they were to request any more rewrites on this legal agreement or anything, that they were paying, and they agreed.
And I thought they did.
Stopped.
Pardon?
That's when they stopped.
Yes. So I advise them they will pay for any future rewrites or any of that stuff, because we're not doing wordsmith, and it's not gonna happen.
And
At
I know that
$300
a lot
an hour?
of people are concerned with the planning and fees, and a lot of that had to do with library board members and people involved in that group calling those individuals themselves. We didn't have any control over the phone calls.
We get it.
That's what I'm saying, hopefully all
It's
this.
still a heck of a bang for our buck for the library that we're getting out of this. For the amount of money that the city is putting in to get this, I mean, when it's all said and done, what? 8 million probably?
They're saying 10.
10 million?
Whatever, yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty fabulous return. If personally you could tell me I could write that kind of check and get that kind of return, I'd be like, sign me up.
So the,
Well, currently, we need to set a number for Ms. Burnett to set. So, if we all tentatively agree on 10, Ms. Burnett?
Okay,
we fine?
yep. Yep, that's good, thank you.
the agreement between the library and the CDDT, that's going to be between them,
Yep.
Yes.
not us.
That's not on us, that's totally done. Okay.
Okay, moving on, I wanted to show you this. This is our revenue from the property taxes for this upcoming budget year. Our,
What page is it on? If we're trying, because that's really little.
it's in
Towards the bottom of the,
it's in the
Okay.
packet. It should-
Because I think we all have our paper packets in front of us too.
I didn't.
Does it look like
Well,
this?
I have mine.
the screens that Deb is showing you are only on the computer, they aren't in that paper packet that you got.
Got it. Okay.
Towards the bottom. And all these screens are at pretty much the end of your,
Ah, okay.
They should be pretty close in order to what I'm going through.
let me get it.
All right.
Anybody got a page yet?
No.
No. What are we looking for?
Should be before the capital improvement fund.
Sidewalk improvement.
Interest, income, general fund. Am I getting close? Projected property tax revenues.
Yep, tax revenue estimate, 2016.
What page are you
Hold on, I gotta get there. It jumped on me.
You know what, Deb, I don't know if I can make a suggestion or not, but it would be nice to have those pages numbered for
Oh, 68.
reference.
Is it 68?
I think it's like 68,
Yep, 68. If you look in the top corner here.
Okay.
60 or 70.
So I went just past it.
Oh, oh, yeah, same one as in 64.
Yep, there it is.
6.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Okay, this is the property tax revenue we're estimating for this upcoming year. The roll isn't finalized, but it's pretty darn close.
Sure.
You can see down below is prior year. So as far as the ad valorem roll, we're down from 1.06. It was 1.074, it's 1.06. So it's down a slight bit, but the big hit was, I don't know if you're familiar with the eligible manufacturing personal property tax that went into effect January 2016. So for that, like our big hit comes from like CS Manufacturing and CS Tooling. Anything before 2006 and after 2012, they no longer have to put on their personal property tax. They don't pay tax on that anymore.
Right.
So just from like CS Manufacturing, they went from 2 million to 800,000. It's a huge hit.
Yeah.
As you can see, last year we had taxable value of 4.647. Now we're down to 2.43, and that is the big hit from that. The state is saying that they're going to reimburse us for part of it, but don't hold your breath.
Yeah. And they haven't said how much.
Exactly. Yeah. And for how many years? Because the conference I was at, they said, well, you'll probably get some for the first couple years, but then after that, when the money's gone and distributed, then you're not going to get anything. So, because they're taking the money out of their general fund to fund this,
Right.
is the plan. So that was a huge hit for us this
Every
year.
municipality. I just read a whole
Right.
article that MML put out about how that's a big,
Yeah.
how that policy in general in Michigan is really hurting municipalities.
Right. In the prior 2 years, we had the small personal property tax, the under 80,000, where they don't pay any tax anymore either. So that was a hit for us over the last couple years, and then you add this onto it, and it really,
Yeah.
really dropped us down. As you can see, last year we had a positive 27,000. This year we're a negative 25. So that means we lost that 27 we gained last year
Plus
plus
another.
another 25
Yep.
in tax revenue. So that was quite the hit that we're taking this year. I'm optimistic we'll get some back, but
Yeah.
I think we'd be lucky if we got a quarter of it back, to be honest.
The only good news is maybe in another 5 to 10 years we can grow our way out of it.
You know,
Because we are like adding
Hopefully.
CS brewings and, you know, those
Yeah.
kind of things.
So I just wanted to show you this slide to kind of get a feel from where we're at on the revenue for that.
Yep. Thank you.
Yep. The next slide I have is the revenue. This is the state revenue sharing. I know it's kind of small, but basically we lost again on that. We decreased our state revenue sharing. Last year we were at 315 in 2014, 310 this year, or end of 2015, and this year we'll be at 310. So we're not gaining any
66.
extra
Yeah, page
state
6,
revenue.
I just found it, 66.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying that's not, that used to be a big number for us, and if you look at the years, it's shrunk and gone back. But our big three revenue, of course, are our property taxes, the state revenue sharing, and then we usually get about $40,000 in franchise fees. Those are our three big sources of revenue for our general fund budget. And unfortunately, two of the three have gone down. But so that's where we're getting the majority of our revenue coming in.
Explain our franchise fees.
It's from Charter, AT&T. They pay us a portion. If you look on one of your bill, whoever you have, Charter, AT&T, there'll be a spot on there that says franchise fees, and that's what they pay back to the city for letting them.
Use our telephone poles.
Yeah, Xfinity didn't start kicking in any, did they, since they're...
We got like a $400 check from them. I expect it to grow because it just started in town, that being able to be available. So as more people sign up for that, that will also grow.
Yeah.
But then that, if they're switching from Charter to that, then that will make the Charter one smaller. So, but that's where that revenue comes from.
Yeah, the question is, can they grow the pie?
Right.
Are there people who haven't had it who...
Right.
About how much money would that amount to for this year, the franchise?
40,000.
40.
Yeah. And then my next slide. This is just, and this is going to come. It used to be, now for interest income used to be another big source of revenue. Now it's minimal and hardly even mentionable. We make $1,900 in interest back from 7 years ago when it was $19,000. But that comes as no shock to anybody. But that can't even really consider it an income source anymore.
Yeah.
Well, that helps us too on our bond that we pay less interest there. But
Right.
also we
So-
receive less interest.
Exactly.
Money
So it's probably kind of a wash all the way around.
Right. Yep. Then the next slide is our debt, the debt margin.
Okay, this is...
Page 65.
Okay, so back up. We're going back up.
Got fund balance at 65. What are we looking for?
Yeah.
It should be the debt margin, should be what it's called.
Fund balance.
Fund balance. Legal debt margin 62?
There it is.
Yep.
Good.
I'm thinking it's 62. Yep, page 62.
This is just a list of all of our debts or bonds that we have out right now. You can see the two USDA ones were added. Those are self-supporting because they generate their own revenue along with the previous water and sewer bonds that we had. And then the other ones that we have outstanding. And we're still within our legal debt margin, but I just wanted to give you an overview of what debt we have out there that the city has.
So is our limit then, am I reading this correctly?
Yeah, our limit would be 7.3 million.
But the 6 million is exempt?
Right, because it's self-supporting, the water sewer debt is
Okay.
self-supporting debt, so
So-
that doesn't count against your debt
Okay,
margin.
so not suggesting that we should levy this, but we could, in theory, levy,
Exactly, 5.3 is what our debt margin is. We can go up to the 7.3.
got it.
Currently, we're at 1.9.
I'm not suggesting that, I'm
Right,
just
I'm
saying
just trying to
that,
get a picture of like, when we've talked about things like fixing roads and
yeah,
like we have a little wiggle room in there
Yeah.
that if we wanted to do something over 5 years or,
yeah. This is just what is available as
right.
a option.
Yeah, we
And
got
it's-
just under 2 million of debt.
Is it my understanding that this $3 million with the water will now put us in a place where with a schedule, we can like get our system to where it needs to be? Or no? Are we still like, there was a point with the water system where even as we were fixing things, it was like breaking faster than we were fixing it on a repair schedule. But if I understood Gary correctly, with this $3 million that we've spent, we're now in a place where if we have a schedule over the next 5 years or whatever of replacing things when they're supposed to be replaced, not 25 years afterward, and then, pray a lot, that we would actually be in an okay place. Is that my understanding? Or am I wrong?
That would be Tom.
I didn't know you were talking to me. We have, there's a study out there that the only thing we've taken off that study is that loop we did at the wells with this too.
Half of
With all the other projects that need to be done. I can't give you a number, but because that study was done in, it's called a reliability study.
Right.
In 07, I think. But yeah, 3 million would be not even close.
Okay. So, like, what would we, I guess, if we were looking at priorities,
If you go to the reliability study, it's listed in order. I think the next one is to run from Muskegon Street south to hook up to the line that's in the back of the high school, and that's just that one. I think is probably 300,000.
okay. This is the part we were talking about where if we did this, we get the roads? No? We were saying, like, if we do parts of the water first, because we have to tear up the road to do it?
That was some of the sewer work we did.
Right, but is there not any more of that?
No, some of the prices came in and they omitted some of that and did directional, I believe, in lining, correct, Tom?
No, that was all transit.
It was all done, okay.
But except for underneath Muskegon Street. But
Yeah.
running it to the back of the school property, you got to cross a couple of drives. You wouldn't be in the road. That means getting an easement from the school.
Right, right.
But then that whole section of town, Ronald Street, Marie Street, Frederick, that's all undersized as far as water main goes.
Okay.
So it all needs to be upgraded. But you're talking millions.
Right, I understand that. I'm also trying to get a picture of it over time,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to get a picture of it in relation. I know that the things our citizens, and rightly so, are most concerned about are the water infrastructure and the roads. And there is a certain amount of, and I know we've talked about this, but coordinating that if you've got to tear up this road to put in the water, that you do the water before you do the road. And you kind of can get a quote-unquote 2-for-1 if you can calculate them correctly. But it may or may not be based on the water pipe that's the worst or the road that's the worst. So,
Yeah, the line, probably some of the stuff that needs replaced is not in the road right away,
okay.
so therefore, I think you'd be at half and half unless you really stepped into a residential area. then you would have to rehab the roads, the water, and the sewer, and the storm. So that's a major, probably this, water rate study we just did for Michigan Rural Water will just basically cover our operating costs with a little bit of maintenance.
Right.
It's not, there's no great money set aside
Yeah, I knew there wasn't.
to do any more projects except pay these bills off here, and then,
Well, that's where I was looking at. I mean, we don't have all of our debt leverage. And if we were to try to create some kind of time frame,
Well, right now, the budget that Deb is presenting, we're going backwards.
Yeah.
We don't have the money to even maintain what we have. It's basically bottom line.
we're paying our bill, this debt, and taking day-to-day operations.
so,
That's something to look at.
right. But going forward, like, we could leverage more debt if we decided to.
Yeah,
But we do have the SAW grant coming up too.
there's some things,
So
Okay.
we might get some money out of that. You know, for the North Main Street mill and fill, we'll get, that's probably gonna be, that's been pushed back, so it's probably 2020 to 2021 right now. But we'll get that financed up to, we'll have to come up with at least 20%. You know, we got the bridge out there.
Right.
And I've been putting money away for the bridge every year.
Of
So
course.
by the time that we get the bridge grant, we'll have the money in fund balance to pay for that, so we'll be
Sure.
good there.
But I'm just big picture, and I'm not saying we even have to decide tonight or this year, but we probably should look at doing some leveraging to do some of this infrastructure fixing.
yeah, well, we get a new manager in here, and that hopefully some of his skill sets will be how to get money from the state and how to set up these projects so we can start funding them without, robbing or raiding the bank.
Well, at some point, we're probably going to have to rob some of the bank.
We are. It's
Because,
good.
I mean, I don't see the state coughing it up.
No, they're not. We've put off too long.
And if we, well, and I don't even know that it's just that we put it off. I mean, the state is,
State's not gonna pay, so.
and they have been consistently cutting more and more, and at some point, we just have to say, this is where the buck stops. And if that's what it costs, then we gotta figure out a way to bite it, you know, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You cut it into pieces that you can swallow.
Yep, that's what we have to do. There's
So-
no free money from the state.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Alright, and then I think I have one more. Yep, that was it, from that. If you have your, at the last meeting, I passed out the budget and the list of proposed projects and projects that weren't funded. I don't know if you want to go over, that first. Those are the ones that weren't included, that are included in the budget that I've given you, which was a balanced budget. And then at the bottom were the ones that, things that had been
So
talked
the
about.
special internal equipment construction fund, and, right?
Wait, what do you?
No? This?
No, that's what she.
No, this,
One page in.
Okay,
it was on the front of the, papers that I handed out.
I'm sure.
Looks like that, yeah, it looks like that.
Okay.
It's in the, that was a real small,
Yeah.
that we got. The drain tile for the cemetery, that's just, clear section
Equipment.
Yeah.
drainage. That's overdue.
I don't know if you can see that up there or not. Nope.
Switch it over.
You get opposite eyes.
I can't.
It's a blur.
This cemetery right top, you may not have it.
Maybe I
It's
didn't
just that
stick it in
handout.
here. I remember. I maybe didn't put it in this folder. Maybe it's on my dining room
Mine
table.
didn't.
It's also on the computer screen, Dan.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
it is?
You know,
What page?
Oh, happy day. Thanks, it's fine.
That's even better. Back
Should be
to,
the second page of after the agenda.
Then they just let it suffer like that.
Okay.
Clear to the top.
Thank you, Linda.
Which one?
Forecast.
Anybody got a page?
So there's the forecast.
Page you're talking about,
Yeah,
right?
that's the page she's talking about, I don't know.
You said it was page 2?
Well, that's what I thought.
All right, I don't have it on page 2.
I'm down to page 8 and I haven't found it yet.
We could maybe go take a copy.
I think
Did
somebody
you
moved
include
it.
2 budgets, in that stuff you sent
Is
me?
this machine on?
Two
I think
budgets?
so.
Yeah.
I don't think
You
so.
make a
I don't
copy
know.
quick.
Do you have one?
Might be
No, I
faster.
don't. I probably do, but it's just, taking room.
DDA. Library fund.
It should be, if you're going through the budget, it should be right at the very beginning.
Which one?
At the beginning of the budget, it should be, if that's the,
Wait a minute.
I don't know. what
No,
that's
I
looking
didn't
at.
find it either. There's the 2016-2017 budget and forecast. You
These
don't,
are like unfunded projects.
The one that you put in the
and I
packet
see
is
a
different than
timeline, expenditures,
the paper one.
Administration.
and then there's the resolution to adopt it.
Yeah, it should be right after the two things, oh, maybe it is at the end. I don't know. I don't know how it came out on yours. It's different than mine.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's not there. And then there's the report.
Yeah.
Well, it's fine.
Mr. Bart made some copies, so we'll go.
Woohoo!
I made a little mistake, there's 2 pages on all this.
We'll figure it out.
Finishing one. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Harry, you have it?
Okay. First item.
Okay, so these are the things that are in the budget right now that, I, along with department heads, thought were important things to put in it. I don't know if you want to look it over, have any questions.
Yeah, voting machine, that's probably kind of important.
We kind of don't have a choice on that one.
I was gonna say, that's probably kind of important.
Is ours dead?
No, but the state is mandating we get new ones.
Have you watched Arizona?
No chance.
Just saying. I watched that and went, oh, thank you, Linda, thank you, Linda.
Yeah, it was a mess.
On Parks and Recs, the grant for Trumps Unlimited, what's that, what are we getting on that, I guess?
It was a matching fund, was it not?
Yes.
So if we don't put in the 3, we don't get the other 3, right?
That was something that the CBDT had come and asked you guys to do.
It's to go
Well-
for the project with North Park and the water or wetland restoration there.
I thought that was sad. Like, didn't he have the people come in and
No, that was
No.
not.
They already did.
No, that's
the
what
budget.
Trout Unlimited and.
Trout Unlimited? That's what I'm thinking of. I don't know.
And they applied for a grant last year and they didn't get the grant, so you carried the money over for this year should they get the grant.
Right.
Okay.
And I didn't foresee it happening this year, so I put it in the following.
Okay, that's
Got
what I
it.
was wondering.
Okay,
I thought
that's
we-
where I knew I had that in my brain somehow.
That's what I was wondering. I thought we had paid it last year and we're doing it again.
No, it's never been paid out.
Paid out.
It's,
Okay,
Got
thank
it
you.
keeps getting carried forward.
Got it.
Can you just jump in on this stuff, Gary? Or get a question from Marty?
Go ahead.
Marty, the money for the turnout gear at 10,000. Now that's going to go for how many years before we have to replace the turnout gear again?
That's OSHA mandated that you have to replace that stuff every 10 years.
So by 10,000 in 10 years, $100,000, we'll be ready for it.
We'll have surplus.
We'll be ready.
That was a number that I grabbed a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, when I didn't know the exact price of the gear. I
Sure.
overshot that estimate a little high. I thought it'd be a little high and then too low.
Yeah.
And you can always walk away like McDonald's with a little change in your pocket.
So when we get to year 10, if we got a little room, we can just
Yeah,
take
next couple of years, if we decide that we want to drop that down to maybe 7,000 or something like that, you know, I would like to have a little a little sock there, just in case, like I just put on 4 new people, and the gear that they are using will expire at the end of December this year. So before I send them to fire school, they're gonna need new gear.
Sure.
And
Well,
that wasn't something I had anticipated.
And the reimbursement to the motor pool for the rescue vehicle, how much is that total?
That was just shy of $40,000, $41,000, something like that.
So-
And I think this is what, Deb, year 2?
Year 2, yeah.
Long payment.
Okay, 2 years.
So we figured
4
about
years.
4 years we'd have that, 3.5, 4 years we'd have that paid off.
Okay, and be ready to stay for another.
We are putting money aside, yes, for that.
Good.
We decided to put money away because the last time the turnout gear, we had to foot the bill for the whole thing, which was
Right.
a big hit. And that's when we decided to gradually put some away
And
so that didn't
we used to
happen
get a grant for that, right? Through the,
We had, the gear that we replaced was purchased through a grant, and that was all purchased, 21 sets all at one time. Henceforth, 21
it
sets
all
expires
expires at the same time. So this is the one good thing about having new people come on and having to get them new turnout gear, right?
We will stagger that.
Yeah.
I hate to go out and buy a size 36 coat with a 30-30 pants, and the guy leaves, and I got a set of gear that nobody else
Nobody
will
else
wear.
will wear it.
Just tell some people to get skinny.
Oh, we all need.
Do we pay for Weight Watchers?
I told me I need to watch what I eat, and I said I do.
Every single bite.
And
We are saving these monies every year, right, Miss?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Great.
We
Next-
got, excuse me, Deb, but we got hit, I think it was last year, a couple of years ago, for between the new SUV and the turnout gear in the tone of $86,000.
Yeah.
And that was quite a chunk of money to swallow, so then it was, I worked with finance directors, and I believe Sad and possibly Linda, I don't remember, that we would set a few dollars away
Sure.
every year to.
so the $10,000 for the rescue vehicle, then if we do that 4 years, we'll be ready for another vehicle. At the same time, we pay off the first one.
Well, we got this through the state bid and got a real good deal on it, but I anticipated it may not be quite as cheap.
Okay, next time around.
I put a 10-year shelf life on that, or 12-year maybe, because the first 4 years I gotta pay back the motor pool.
Well, okay, I thought we had 2 things going here. I thought we had to pay back to the motor pool and then the money to the rescue, for the rescue vehicle.
Yeah.
Do I not see those things
Yeah.
going parallel?
It's
I
true.
didn't catch that, I'm sorry, yeah.
Okay, so we're doing those at the same time, yeah?
Yep.
So you think that this vehicle, SUV, will last how many years?
Well,
In theory.
Theory, yes.
theoretically 6 to 8 years.
6 to 8, okay.
Yeah, that would be a reasonable
And,
number.
and we get stuff happens. I mean, I remember Roger Belknap driving into a turkey.
Well, understand, this
That's
stuff
what I'm
gets
trying to-
used about 90% of the time too.
Yeah.
So,
But I mean, I had a tree land on my minivan. I know. It happens.
It just shows here they're setting monies aside for future.
Right. But I'm saying when,
That's good.
I just wanted to reassure Marty that when he says 10 years, we know.
Well, that was my goal at the time, and like I said, I may have over.
Sure. I think we bought a school bus that, one that blew up right after it came off of
A
warranty.
few years ago.
Linda, will the immune code update, is that something that's mandated, or are we just far behind?
Where'd we jump to
We
that?
usually
The
do it every
10
2 years. We update all the ordinances so that they're all in the book.
Is that the printing piece of it?
How often?
Every 2 years.
Every 2 years.
Why do
okay.
we need to print it anymore?
Because there's a lot of people that want,
Okay, just
when they come
Hands-on.
in, they want to see it in writing.
it's going in.
Any other questions on the general fund expenditures?
The 9,000 is for our meeting coming up and getting our 5-year plan on board?
Vision planning session. It may be less, but.
Okay.
When you have the new city manager in place, this was the Lou Bender
Right.
that was in the plan.
Matter of fact, we were going to do it this next week.
I had a question on the bridge work when I was looking through the,
We aren't that far yet.
oh, I thought we were right there.
No, we're still discussing general fund.
Oh.
Unless anybody's done.
I was gonna say, may I ask a question about the water meters?
That, we aren't that far yet.
Oh, well, I was gonna say, it's right here.
We're not that,
Oh.
Strategic vision.
Keep us under control, Mr. Mayor, I like it.
we're still in general fund expenditures.
Oh, okay.
Legislative city council
Strategic planning.
Can we postpone that?
We
We
did.
have postponed it until you have a new city manager in
So
place.
what, maybe next year?
For me, the city
That's
manager
something
when
that you
he's
can
in
just
place.
talk about.
It'll be like at least fall.
So, just so it's not, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe next year. $9,000 is a whole.
Well, it'll still be in this budget though, probably.
It was
Should
still,
we keep it in this budget?
yeah, it runs till next year.
If we don't use it in this budget, we'll just roll it into the next one. I mean, it'll be
The
fine.
next manager will probably discuss and set that date.
But even if
Okay.
it's, January or whatever, we just.
But this is the 6th year,
Right.
for the 5-year plan. This is the, we gotta do it again, right?
Yes.
Yes.
But we
Okay.
don't have to, but.
That's an answer.
Is there any other, all about that, Commissioner?
I thought it was,
Doesn't
but-
make it every 5 years?
I thought we had
The
to.
strategic planning is not the master plan. This
Oh.
was
You
the,
didn't admit.
I
yeah.
am. Straighten me out.
Okay.
Well, I know you tried, but I'm hard.
I'll follow.
I'm listening.
Okay. Is there any other discussion for the general fund?
Well, I think Dan has a question
I'm
about
trying to understand the
between the
difference between the
strategic fund
strategic plan
and
and
a.
the plan.
The master plan is, the planning commission does it. The strategic planning session was with Lou Bender for the council.
It's a visioning thing.
Yeah, vision, strategic planning. It has nothing to do with the master plan.
Well,
That sounds
In
like-
theory, hopefully it does have something to do with
I was gonna say, I thought they were
We
related.
still have to pay for the master plan too.
A strategic vision is not legally required.
Right.
A master plan
Yes.
is. The master plan is what the planning commission is doing right now.
Is there a cheaper way we can get the vision?
We could not do it at all, but
You put the, like I say, I
Council
think,
members show up at the planning commission meeting when the master plan, and put your 2 cents in there.
Does the MML have anything that would be less expensive?
well, I think isn't Lou Bender through the
Lou
MML?
is associated with MML.
yes.
But he's not
He's
a part of
true.
MML.
He's worth every penny.
He really.
He's
I was
great.
on when we did it the last time. It's worth it.
He's great.
Yeah, that just feels a little
Well,
expensive
it's
for a
like
vision.
it's like $2,000 a year.
I mean, I would enjoy it, I'm sure, like going to MML meetings, but if we could do it for 5,000 instead of 9,000, it wouldn't hurt us.
Well, maybe we get the new manager, we won't have to have it, so.
Oh, yeah?
But if we keep it in the budget, in case we need it, we can. How's that?
Fair.
Everybody okay?
Yeah.
Anything on 101, general fund? No more?
Nope.
All right, we'll move on down to major streets, 202, and I believe you? Somebody had a question on that bridge, Grant.
In looking back at the line items, I probably misread it. It looked like it said that we've been collecting $25,000 a year, and now we're gonna jump to $50,000 a year because,
It's getting closer and we need to have that money when it comes time for us to pay our portion. That's what Tom was talking about earlier.
Grant.
The engineers recommended if we upped it a little bit, that our chances for getting a grant would be a little bit better.
If we show we have the money in the bank.
We apply for this grant every year, and we're putting more and more money in, and this nest egg is growing, hopefully, that will give us a better chance to,
what do we have in there now?
I have the number in my office. I think we've done 25 for the last 3 years. Actually, it was on this other report.
75 before now?
No,
It goes back to 2013, 14, anyway.
I have it right here.
The way it works is the communities that are,
Fourth year.
we
Yeah.
can come up with 20%, that's what was projected. The communities that are gonna come up with 30% go in front of us. And the bridge is getting worse, worse and worse every day. In fact, it's going to be inspected again on a 2-year cycle. And it needs to be replaced, it's failing.
Is great.
Yep,
May I ask a question? May I ask a question? You just said it's failing. I don't doubt that. Is now back to the bond and being able to leverage some debt. Is that the kind of thing that we could leverage
No.
debt for to get us the rest of the way?
We could, but right now, we're currently applying for a grant, a match,
Right, but I'm
Right.
saying for our piece of it, if we didn't
No.
have it all
You
saved.
can't use
no, it doesn't mix.
one grant fund for another to fund another grant fund, it just.
Well, it's not a grant if you're leveraging your own debt.
No, you can't, you have to have the money.
You have to have the money.
Okay, that was my question. That was my question.
Said earlier.
I'm trying to get a picture of what we can and can't leverage money for.
So my thinking and Mike's thinking, who's the city engineer, was we can up it to a 30% match, then.
We could get ahead.
Yeah.
We have 75 that we saved, and then with this 50 would be at 125.
And what's that total, what's
Is
that,
that 30?
where are we in the total, 3 million for the bridge?
I don't remember what it came in as, like, million,
Yeah, a million and a half, a million, just under 2.
$1.2 million, I think it was.
So,
Where,
240,
it doesn't matter. It'll be
250? Well, I'm just thinking.
2016.
The question was, does this get us to the 30%?
No,
No.
So we still have another year.
not even halfway.
Yeah, well, it won't be until our next budget cycle that the new grant will be awarded.
So we need like 50 this year and then 50 in the next budget cycle
Correct.
to get us probably in the neighborhood?
Yep.
So next year's budget, we'll be looking at this again and discussing it, another 50,000.
Okay.
Well,
So that'll give us 225,000.
30% though, 1.5, is that what we're looking at?
1.25 probably.
Whereabouts, what line item do we have
So
that
we're looking
under?
at $450,000.
Mr. Man?
Wrong?
It's in the 202 budget.
Is it in maintenance or description? I see it, I found it. It's on, I found it,
Okay.
designated for future bridge work.
Yeah.
I'd have to go look up the exact, of course, that was 3 years ago too.
Yeah.
Do that math for me, Deb. 1.25, 1.25, and a third of that.
I have a calculator.
Really? Oh, Deb, come on, I know you
Not a
don't.
whole year to worry about it.
I know, but we're talking $375,000, I think.
Yeah, that's what I just come up with.
We're
So even 2 years would
We're
make
not
sense.
close to that, though, that's what I'm saying. If we're gonna try to really get this done, we're not gonna get there at $50,000 a year.
But we don't have the funds to put any.
In-
I agree with you.
Okay. Just trying to get a picture.
So we're really looking at another 2 or 3 years.
I'll be gone until May.
Jerry put it.
Shush.
All right, well, it's good to know, how long it's gonna take to get there. That's what
I
I'm
know where you live.
wanting to get at.
Okay. Main Street, any other discussions on the Main Street 202 for the bridge future? Water fund, moving along. 591, replacement of water meters. I can say those are our cash registers, folks. That's what pays our debt.
Sure. How many do we still have to go?
A lot.
All the little ones.
Yeah, I don't have an exact.
I mean, like, are we halfway? Are we?
No.
No.
Okay.
No, we've been
Are we-
replacing the large meters, which are the expensive ones first.
Right.
And we're just about through all of the commercial meters, now we're gonna start on the residential meter.
I figure there's over 1,000 of them residentials.
We're at, over the years, about an average of a 20% water loss is what it looks on paper.
Okay.
I don't think we're there. I don't think we're at 20, and the reason being is we got 2 wells that have old style meters in them, and I don't think they're even close to being accurate. So once we get done with all of the meters in the system, the ones we charge money for,
Right.
then we'll hopefully keep that going, the project going, so we can replace the meters in those 2 wells, which means we'd have to have a meter pit outside, and because there's no room in the wells for meters like that.
Sure.
So we'd have to put a meter pit outside, and you're looking at 10 to 12,000 for each one of those meters too.
Sure.
At the minimum.
I
And
get it.
hopefully our numbers will once we get to that point, hopefully our numbers, we're still gonna have some percent of water loss, but hopefully
Sure.
we'll get a better idea.
So Tom, the money that we're now going to be collecting to pay off our loan bond, but will that money also cover what we're doing with the meters?
No, this has just been a budgeted item for the last few years. We decided that we were gonna seriously set money aside in the budget to replace the meters. You'll see last year was 32,000 also.
And doesn't it make a difference on like how we read them? Like these are the ones that can be read without
Radio.
yeah, like a person doesn't have to go, yeah.
Once they're all installed, there'll be like a laptop or a Surface Pro or something like that, that would just be in one of the trucks.
And you just drive the streets, right?
Yeah, and it reads all the time.
Right.
So whenever Deb decides to send out the bills, all you gotta do is download from the tablet, and there it is.
Yeah. Where right now, like Joanne or somebody goes and walks around and
Yeah,
I make sure I have a patch shoveled.
I've got one person doing meters for a week, a month, and
Yeah.
that's a lot of time.
Right.
That's the cost.
So $32,000 will, how many years do you think we'll have to do that before we get them all done?
We were projected at a 5-year program.
We've been at it for 3?
Right. But we're gonna, to be honest with you, we'll probably end up at 6 years.
6 years.
Okay.
Thank you.
Once more. Okay, everybody understand the meters?
Yep.
Okay, washout inspection of the water tower.
Again, or is this a pay it forward thing?
No, this is a,
We're due.
this is a contract we have with Utility Services.
Oh, okay.
And that's the yearly
Because
cost.
we paid, when we cleaned it and painted it and
This is the yearly cost for that
got
contract.
it for that
This
company.
year, I think we did add the mixer into it.
Okay.
So we're gonna put a mixer inside the water tower, that will keep the water circulated up there. Because the water tower only goes up and down, it doesn't
Right,
mix.
right.
And, you don't get good chlorination, you don't get, you get stagnant water at the top basically, so.
Right.
Adding the mixer in there just keeps it circulated. So you
Makes sense.
have, more consistency.
That'll also help ice formation.
Correct.
It's a good thing. Any questions on the water fund so far?
That one's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 9. Shouldn't that be a 5 at the end? On the washout inspection fund in that price.
Oh, he's just
No change.
he wants to cut you by 4 cents to make it an entertaining number.
Okay. Moving on to motor
Whatever works
pool.
for you.
Motor pool, I believe this is a replacement of one truck. There's one pickup out there. It's getting kind of raggedy in the box and a new pickup plow.
Yeah, that's the whole rig, is that, and it's 15 years old now.
Sure.
New shiny red truck. Yes, Miss Paul?
So will we be getting some trade-off for that when you sell them or scrap them or auction them off?
Okay. $1,500.
Yeah,
A little bit.
Maybe some.
yeah, I can get a whole lot out of it.
It's a municipal title.
I think the last cop car we sold was like 2,000, 2,500.
No, they're municipal titled and they're
Yeah.
covered, so we'll take what we can get.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we guess it would be less than that.
This
A
thing
little
is very rough.
pickup.
Right.
So we're gonna get that right away.
It'd be in the next budget year.
It's in the next one.
Yeah.
There were many, many other things on Tom's list, but that was all the money that was gonna be available.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions on the motor pool fund? And that money is from the enterprising, or the motor pool equipment replacement fund, so it's there. Now, various funds, 2% raise for employees. Mr. Matt or Mrs. Richardson, you want to speak to that?
Well, the employees for a long time didn't have
Any
raises
raise.
at all,
Like 10 years?
5 or 6.
Okay.
Okay,
It was quite a while.
pretty
So I don't think
self-explanatory.
2% is outrageous. It's not even the cost of living,
I was
but
gonna say,
Right.
what's the cost of living?
Yeah. Well, we just adjusted our, one front office staff because of Passover, so
Yeah.
this is for the rest of the people.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say, having been on council previously.
Yep.
There were lots and lots of years, there were no raises at all. So 2% is very,
Minimal.
very reasonable.
Okay, any other
For the what?
funds?
For one employee,
It's for all employees.
then what about the one I requested?
Oh, yeah, that's included in them.
Okay, that covers our general fund. Do you have anything else, Ms. Burnett,
For the budget?
the rest of the line?
No, I don't have anything.
May I ask a question about the 2%?
Yep.
Does that include the firefighters?
No, that's just the office staff. They got a raise. This,
A little while ago.
yeah, they went from 1050 to
Right.
11. It just says various funds because they're paid out of
I
various
was
funds.
just trying to
So
figure out where that,
Yep.
how that,
no, that would be all the office staff.
okay. Because having read the fire study,
Right. Yeah.
If you look at the fire budget, it
Right.
does show an increase.
yes, I was trying to figure out if that was a 2% or if that was, because I read it in the fire budget, but then I was,
Yeah.
it,
The fire budget is, they were raised because he added firefighters, so that's why that one went up too. Yeah,
Okay.
but this 2% was strictly for
okay,
just the
Full-time
office staff.
employees, correct?
Yeah.
got it, okay.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I don't have anything else.
Okay.
like the part on the bottom of projects that were requested that aren't being funded, and you might want to
Yeah,
look
those
at those.
were things that were brought up in meetings or that, staff, department heads had wanted that there, I didn't see room in the budget for, you know,
Sure.
there weren't, so I don't know if you have any questions on those, any comments. I
The
don't know.
chipper, that's not our chipper we just bought?
Don't we have a
Our
chipper?
chipper's 12 years old.
On the,
It was a leaf back that we bought.
the plan was there was depreciate all these pieces of equipment out X amount of years life expectancy, and that's where you see some of that showing up. It's exceeded or net its life expectancy, and then we're using it more.
Wow,
Okay.
jaws of life are expensive.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I wanted to mention to the council that, the old set, that we bought, the oldest set now, the oldest set that we have is getting to the point where it won't cut today's metals in the
Sure.
cars. The newer set that we have does a sufficient job. We have the second set for a backup that we use several occasions, because we've had to pop a door in that car and pop a door in that car to get the people out in a timely fashion.
Sure.
That's why we maintain that second set, but it is getting antiquated, and I'm guessing somewhere around 20 years old. So my goal was to plant the seed, water it, fertilize it, and make it grow so that if this year, maybe in
Here's-
the next year or two, that we could get a new set of jaws.
So here's my question. Is the 30,000 the total cost of it?
That's a ballpark figure.
Okay.
There's several different kinds out there. They have a new one that comes out that's totally electric. There's no hydraulic pump, no hydraulic hoses or anything. You plug it in, the battery has supposedly 2 hours of use. You unplug it, plug a new battery in it, you're good for another 2 hours. Not that it would take that long to get, hopefully never take that long to get somebody out of the car, but
Right.
there's several different options, several different ways to go. You know, the pump that we have is probably gonna handle what we have today, but it probably won't handle a new set of jaws if we just bought a jaws or a cutter. So that 30,000 is a good ballpark figure, but.
For total